Hey HappiDaze here. In today's video, we are doing another season of Grand Party, my favorite game mode in this game, probably. That being said, let's go ahead and get into these matches. So for this season, they really want you to go ahead and use either Blackberry Pirates, World Government, or Mythical Zone users. That's what gets you the extra burst, gets you a bunch of buffs for Int, Quick, Powerhouse, and Shooter, if I remember correctly. So yeah, even though that is the case, I like using Kizaru. So that's what we're going to do today. So for Kizaru, even though he's not boosted by the rule set, he just does so much amazing stuff with his special once you get to fire off. You do have to do a bit of damage to get that to happen. But that being said, it's the first couple of days, so we're really not too scared about facing other opponents. So for this first match, we are taking on another rival Burst Captain Kizaru. Of course, that means that if you're facing Kizaru, basically you want to make sure that you're doing more damage than they're doing, because if they do damage, they're going to charge their burst gauge. End up really hurting you. So I chose to go with this Dex team kind of up front just to see what we could go ahead and do here. Obviously, the Dex team's not super great against the shooters. They get the buffs there, of course, so you do have to watch out a little bit for that. But luckily, we were able to still take them out thanks to some of the buffs that we got for the fact that Kizaru is Dex and his burst ability. And using one of the bursts that we have, we were able to kind of easily take them out and get that first win here. Going against the second match, it's just a mirror matchup of kind of the strength team versus the Dex team. Have the super advantage here. I could have swapped out the Uta on this team for the Buggy, just to get a little bit more CT reduction. I didn't, but certainly you could do that if you have Buggy, and I'd probably recommend that actually for facing Dex teams, is to have that Buggy to give that huge debuff to the CT speed to Dex characters. But either way, Uta's going to give a bunch of cooldown. Kobe's going to give a bunch of cooldown, haste a bunch of people to the top, and at that point, it's pretty much game over for them. So once Kuma goes here, he's going to knock out a bunch of their units. Have to take the annoying death hit from the Kizaru there, so that's kind of unfortunate, but is what it is. Also charges their burst gauge, but luckily they don't have their burst ready to go. They used it in the first match, which is actually really good because the strength team actually isn't really that great against burst. They're kind of a glass cannon team. So we definitely don't want Kizaru to be able to use the burst against us, and because we have the type advantage, that's why we made sure we had this team go in the second slot. So they don't even have a chance to go ahead and do that. So there we go. Nice, easy way to get the first battle done for the day. 1 out of 15. We keep rolling. Let's see how we do on fight number 2 for the first day. Fight number 2 of the day. Let's see who we're doing. Still all burst captains. That's okay. That's what this first day is for playing around a little bit. So we're going to take on this Kaido captain. He has a mythical zone, so he does get that extra charge gauge to 4. Reduces the damage he has to take to get that charge to launch off his burst. I believe it's 45,000 damage is his threshold to get his special going. So what's really annoying about when you're fighting against enemy Kaidos is that if you win that first match, you're just going to get a ton of specials in the second and third matches. And it just makes it really hard to win. So the strategy here is to kind of win as quick as we can, hope that they can use one of their bursts in that first fight, and then see if we can kind of bait them to do 2 bursts in that second battle. That way they go into the third battle with no bursts, and we go into that final match with an extra burst in our pocket. Obviously, with these teams, we're going to do a ton of damage, especially with type advantage, right? So you can see we pretty easily filled up the burst gauge of the Kaido there. He's going to go ahead and use it against us, which is perfect. The Dex team is pretty bulky, so it can take it. We do get Big Mom forced out, but it's not going to be enough for that to save them. So we're going to go ahead and skip there just so we can save a little bit of time and end up getting the first win of the day. For the second fight, we are going to have our Int team go against their Strength team. Obviously, it's not ideal to have to go against a strength team. We purposely skipped, knowing that this team is pretty bulky with the some of the mechanics of Revive from the Yamato and also the Roger Early Gaban unit that I have there. So because of that, we're basically able to take 3 bursts in one fight. That gives us a full charge gauge going into the final fight. And again, once our strength team goes, like, we're going to absolutely murder them. Now, this was a risky play if you were trying to do this in, like, the last days, so you can't see what that third team was. But because we knew that the third team here was going to be a Dex team, we knew we could throw our strength team against them. Really no worries there on getting the win. So we'll use our burst here. Just do a bunch of damage, which is really all we're looking to do. Probably should have waited actually till Jack went just to get the most effect out of that, but he's still kind of at the bottom of the lineup. So we're going to get some burst there from Uta to help with the special CT, and then Luffy just absolutely just dilates everyone, decimates everyone. No real chance for them to come back at this point. We get our burst gauge charged again, so why don't we just go ahead and use it just to go ahead and pretty easily get that victory there. So it's going to take out 2 units. Could have done better, but that's okay. Kuma's just going to come out and say it doesn't matter. Goodbye. Thanks for playing. So, again, type advantage played a huge role, which is why we were comfortable taking on this Kaido. Would probably not take this guy on the later days if you can help it, if you can't see what that final team is. So, that being said, 2 out of 15. Let's see what match number 3 holds for us. Final match of day 1. Here we go. Let's see. You know what? We faced the Kizaru and the Kaido. We're going to take it easy for this last match of the first day. Just to make it a bit simpler, this Luffy does actually have a burst. I think it's not just the fixed damage, but it's not anything that's going to threaten us or make any difference here. And I'm pretty sure this is an auto-gen team anyway. So again, it's going to be pretty quick to get through this. Strength team's going to make quick work out of them. We'll get our burst gauge charged pretty quick. They might use their special once in fight 2, but it's not going to be enough to really affect the outcome of this this first day, and they'll pretty easily let us get to the wins. So when you're facing teams like this, there's really not too much strategy because it's auto-generated. Nothing really scares me on this team. Obviously, the Akainu there that can do a little bit of damage, but outside of that, they really didn't have anything on this team that was worth kind of worrying about. For the middle battle, we'll just have our best team, or in my opinion, my best team of this Kizuna Go, just because of the death hits and everything else. And they're going to go ahead and take on the side team here. So obviously there's some debuffers to end, like the Enel that's there and stuff, but ultimately, because we have that special, it's not going to make much difference. Actually, probably should have waited a little bit more to their special for a charge, but again, it didn't matter. There was no way they were going to beat us with their captain. Didn't even get to use their burst. I thought they were going to at least be able to use it once, but they didn't. And that brings us out to a perfect 3 out of 3 for day number 1. So a lot of good matches. It's going to get tougher as we go on. Let's go ahead and look at day number 2 and see how that went. Sorry, I was just adjusting my teams here before we get into the third battle. So going into battle number 3, we're still using Kizaru. Sorry, day number 2, battle number 1. So this is actually number 4, going for the 4th victory. We are actually going to go ahead and take on the trio here. Again, it's a pretty good burst captain, but it's not anywhere on the level of the Kaidos, the Kizarus, or the Into Luffy's. So we're not going to really worry too much about it. Might take some damage, but not really too scared. Again, we have our Dex team lead off this battle against their side team. What worries me for this team is obviously the Nami. Her ability to do that special rewind is just absolutely crazy, especially if she's level Lunar Break 5. The Garp can just do a bunch of nasty hits there as well. So we're just hoping that we can really kill the main units. We have to deal with 3 revives of that Luffy, so that's obviously a pain to deal with. But luckily, because Kizaru was able to go first there, we're able to get a bunch of special bind. Kizaru just comes in, does 8,000 fixed damage, which is awesome. Love to see that. Kind of charges our gauge most of the way. Ace almost completes the filling of the gauge there, and we just keep continuing on there. So once Kaido or Big Mom goes, we'll pretty much get that burst gauge charge. We'll use it, and that should hopefully take out that front line that's there. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get it off before Garp went. We probably could have maybe did some damage, maybe took him out, but unfortunately we just weren't able to stop him there. So we took a little bit of a shot. You can see that their burst gauge is charged, so best case scenario, we're hoping to kind of bait them to use it on us. From what I've seen, to get them to use it on that first match, like you have to do almost like a set number of specials, I think. Like you almost do like if you do like 3 or 4 specials after they have their burst gauge charged on the first fight, it will kind of force them to use it. But luckily, even though they used it, we still had more than enough to kind of get through that and get the first victory of the day. Obviously, we still have, one more match there, but we were able to get through that first battle there. Second battle, we're not worried about. Again, we have the strength advantage here, strength versus dex. Again, I could have swapped out this Uta for the Buggy, probably would have moved better for the CT reduction that he gives to Dex and Slashers, but it didn't end up happening, so it is kind of what it is. So we're going to wait until their specials are coming a little bit closer, then we'll go ahead and use the Kizaru special. Then that combined with Luffy and Kuma will be more than enough. So again, we took a little bit of a shot from the Luffy here. This is the Glass Cannon team, as I mentioned, so one special, and you can see we're already pretty much down to less than 50% health for everyone. That's not too bad, because sometimes you can have the Kobe character, if he goes, and he has less than 50% health, he gives a shield to the whole team. But Kuma's just like, it doesn't matter, I'm just going to just wipe out everyone who's here because I have strength advantage. Why not? And then we'll use Kizaru to just kind of end it here so we don't have to worry about anything else. And there we go. With that, we are going to wrap up this first match of day number 2. Get win number 4, one step closer, I should say, to 15 wins and completing this season. So, yeah, love to see it. Again, we're to see how Burst Captains go against Kizaru, but been pretty good so far, I think. So that being said, let's go ahead and get into battle number 5. See how that goes. All right, so for battle number 5, we're just going to go ahead and do, I think, a quick one here. We'll just go ahead and face this Sanji captain. Again, not a burst captain. Don't have to really worry too much. What I probably should have done here, and you'll see as I kind of switched it out in later days, against the shooter team that goes first, I probably should have just had the anti-shooter team go with you know, the new S-Tank that's there, Boa, Luffy, Pika, Blackbeard. With those units, you can just absolutely crush the shooter team before they can really do anything. But again, we have plenty of retries, so we're not kind of really worried about things. We're just kind of testing things out. It's a good test for strategies for the kind of the final days when you might not know whether a team can beat these characters. It's good to have some practice beforehand just so you can get that figured out. So you can see we do get a lot of debuffs up front. We're taking a shot from Luffy here. Not going too well at all. We didn't even get to do the special of the Roger V2 unit there to get a bunch of damage. So yeah, obviously not a great first battle. You can see we're probably going to end up losing this first fight here of the second match of the day. But luckily S-Hawk's like, I don't know. See, that's the thing. If you can get your special off against these guys, then you can defeat them pretty easily. They're pretty glass cannon in themselves, but ultimately we weren't able to secure the victory for that first match just because, yeah, I hadn't tried this in-team against that shooter team before, and you can see it just didn't do well without having a burst ready. If we would have had a burst ready, I think we would have been absolutely fine, but we didn't. So for the second match, we just skipped it. We had the type advantage. We knew that there was no way they were going to be able to beat us. So this is the warning that even if you don't have a burst captain, you just want to make sure that when you're building your teams, you know, you put your best teams forward to kind of beat those units. This is kind of a scary team here because obviously they have the B2 Roger and also the Yamato, so they can do the death hit. Not something that you want to have to deal with. So here, I'm just going to go ahead and kick this Kizaru special off just so as we start kicking off our specials, we charge our burst gauge. And you can see, luckily, we're kind of chugging along here. Obviously, I'm worried about that special or that death hit from those units, but we'll just kind of see if we can hopefully take out a lot of the units. Or at least get our special ready. Unfortunately for us, we took a shot there. That was the death hit, but at least they're gone now, so don't have to worry too much about it. We're going to take the death shot from Yamato here, which is just not fun. But luckily, we have our special charge, so we can go ahead and use it here, and it should easily kind of allow us to pick off the rest of the people coming in from their back bench, get the easy victory for this third fight. Obviously not ideal. The Dex team is good in that it's very bulky, but it doesn't do a lot of damage really quick, right? So against teams like this that have the revive, it's kind of tough if you don't have burst ready to go. So there we go. We were able to go ahead and pick up the 5th win of the day. Love to see that. So let's keep rolling, see if we can get the 6 out of 15, and hopefully wrap up day number 2. All right, so for the final match of the day, we kind of cheated taking our hero captain for that second fight. So let's go ahead and take this quick Luffy. So obviously the advantage here is that we have the Dex team that we know can go first against their quick team. Again, I should have probably swapped out either the second or the third team for the anti-shooter team to deal with fight number 2, but hey, I didn't. It is what it is. So this team is really tough with the work with some of the elders in here now. You know, obviously you have the cross guild that can do some of the debuffing there with CT time. The Luffy can hit pretty good if he's leveled up, and he has 3 bursts, right, to deal with. So this isn't a trivial captain, but what we're really hoping to is hoping that the type advantage will be able to let us really do a lot of damage really quick. We got the damage to defense there. Unfortunately, he gave a shield to the whole team. Gives us a bunch of special rewind, which just isn't fun to deal with, but hey, it is what it is when you're fighting these teams. So basically, we're waiting for Ace or Kaido to really go. That will get the burst gauge of Kizaru filled up and get us in a really good spot. So luckily, Ace is about to go really here. Because of the type advantage, again, we get a lot of damage. Actually, we didn't get much damage there. I thought we got much more. Unfortunately, we didn't get too much. So we may have to wait until actually Big Mom goes or someone to actually get enough damage to take on this team. Not looking good there. We got some damage from Pika. The Pika really just gives so much bulk to these teams that it's just really, really hard. And you can see, like, Big Mom pretty much did nothing there. Worst case scenario, I think we can get a death shot with the Kizaru unit just to, you know, get our burst gauge closer to go. It looks like we're not going to win this first match, even though we had the type advantage, right? The defense of the Pika and the Blackbeard we're just too much, unfortunately. So that's the downside of this Dex team. Like I said, if you face like a really bulky team, you're just not going to have a great time there. So again, it puts us in a not great position for this final fight of the second day. You don't like to see that. But hey, sometimes it is what it is. So we're going to go ahead, and the advantage here is that we have the burst gauge already. So I think as long as you have a burst gauge ready when you're fighting the shooter team, if you don't have a shooter team, you're golden. You shouldn't have to worry too much. Probably should have waited a little bit longer there, but I just kind of panicked just because I'd already lost that first match. So you got to keep your head cool and make the right decisions when you're doing this. But you can see we already took out a couple units there. We're going to really hope for the Roger or the Yamato to go. Sabo can do a little bit of damage to one target, and Garland can do a little bit of damage too if he's, particularly if he has his gauge fully charged. You can see he did take out Kuma there, so that was actually pretty big for us. And I'm hoping here that Sabo will basically enable us to go ahead and fill the gauge the rest of the way, so we can just go ahead and use it. He just was like just the smallest amount off, but we were able to get Roger to go, and we'll pretty much just use the burst here. Hopefully they use their burst here. That would be the ideal situation. They do. So going into the final match, we both have one burst left. But I feel extremely confident because I know it's strength versus dex. Again, in the final days, you don't know what it's going to look like, so that obviously could be an issue. But because we knew it was going to be the dex team, we go ahead and use our strength. And again, could have swapped out the Uta for the buggy, but we didn't here. So the real goal is going to be to take out, really Kaido is the big damage dealer. Jupiter has some damage that he can do to you, but it's Kaido and Jupiter are probably the two biggest threats on this team. If we can take them out, then we are golden. Jack comes in, does a major HP cut, and basically just lets us get our special going, and that should be hopefully enough for us to at least kick out a couple units. We ended up taking out Pell and Jupiter, which just helps us to get a little bit closer to what we're looking to do. Really need Luffy or Kuma to go to really seal it. Again, Uta's gonna come, give a bunch of special CT, which is awesome, and once Luffy goes here, it is over. They are going to get absolutely crushed. At this point, there's really nothing they can do. Yeah, there's going to be some units coming in from the back bench. We're going to take a shot here, but it's not enough to do anything or stop us from winning that match. So there we go. A little bit closer than we wanted to do for the final fight of the second day, but hey, sometimes that is what it is, and that's what you do with when you're dealing with these GP matches. So let's go ahead and start looking at the third day matches, see how we do on day number 3. All right, day 3 matches. So I'm not gonna lie, I was a little traumatized from that final fight of the day yesterday. So when I see Samwan Wolf, I'm gonna take him on just because I know he's a non-burst captain. For the first team here, we know it's a quick team, so we're gonna throw our dex team up front. Again, have our strength team in the middle, and then save our int team for kind of the end there. Again, we're using the Kizaru captain. He does damage to get his burst gauge charged. And yeah, we know that we're going to win. I came a lot closer than I thought. I probably shouldn't have skipped there. I probably should have just played it through, even though it looked like it was a pretty solid win. But I got a little cocky there, to be completely honest. So that being said, I'm going to actually swap out these teams just in case I can't win with the int team in the second slot. I want to have them kind of as a backup in that third slot here. I can go ahead and kind of go through the match and do whatever, right? And I'll have at least probably 2 bursts that I can use on that final battle. So I'm really not worried about it. Again, the death hit there from the Yamato is something to worry about. But other than that, there's not like a lot of really crazy, scary units on this team that are like, oh my god, they're going to do anything. So we're going to go ahead and use one of our bursts here when their specials are ready to go. Hopefully that's just special bind a lot of them. At least let our Jack be able to go and give our Luffy and Kuma a chance to go get their specials off. Do a whole bunch of damage and just kind of get through there. So let's see if Kobe can haste Kuma. So he did. Oh yeah, that's pretty much the perfect scenario there. So there we go. Pretty easy. We're not going to need that third match to win the first match of day number 3, which is awesome. And yeah, we'll just finish it off right here with a burst from Kizaru. Boom. There we go. We'll have to see what he can do that. So that's why I love using this guy, even though he's not boosted for this season. He still is just an absolute monster that's out there. So there we go. That gets us our first win of the day number 3. Let's go on to battle number 2. For battle number 2, let's go ahead and take on, you know what, we're not taking on these Kaidos. Like 4 bursts is just crazy if I can avoid them. So we're gonna go ahead and take on the trio there, see if we can go ahead and take them on. I saw like a bullet in the second slot, so I think that these teams might be auto gen. Yeah, these are auto gen teams. So should be an easy victory here. Nothing to really worry about, even though the burst captain is obviously someone who can do a bunch of damage if he kicks off. We can not really worry too much about that. So we'll go into the second battle. We did take 1 burst gauge in that first battle, so the good news is that means that they only have we didn't take a burst gauge in that first battle, so we're probably going to take one right off Rift here. And then it really shouldn't matter at that point. Now, yeah, now this team is a strength team, which actually has type advantage against our Dex team. But like I said, I think we can either bait out the 3 bursts on this fight, or we can, you know, just use our Kizaru special to kill them, just depending how it goes. So we'll let it progress just a little bit more, see how it goes. Get HP cut here from Bullet, which is never fun to deal with, but it is what it is. Yeah, so let's go ahead and use this now. Hopefully stop them from kicking off a lot of their specials, do a lot of action bind. Unfortunately, H just missed out on going, which is kind of the unfortunate part for us. But it looks like it didn't matter at the end. Because we're an auto-gen team, we were able to pretty easily get through that second match, get up to 8 wins. Love to see that. One step closer to getting 9 out of 15. So yeah, that being said, let's get into the final match of day number 3. Alright, for the final match of day number 3, we're going to go ahead and take on this Lucci captain, because again, people are just having Kaido everywhere, and he's a menace to deal with, so I don't want to even have to worry about that. So yeah, we're just going to go ahead and take the rare recruit for the final victory here. We do encourage people when they're done for the day to go ahead and change your leader. You'll see I did that on the other days, but I didn't have it in the video. But you'll see when we do day 4, you'll see me change the leader at the end. Just make sure you're doing that. Give everyone a chance to get the full 15 out of 15 using the community strategy. You can see here I swapped out my team that I was using before with the anti-shooter team, knowing that shooter teams are up front, so I didn't have to kind of really worry about it anyway. But you can see, basically, once Luffy and the Boa go, like, it's game over. Like, shooters just can't compete with this team. It's just fantastic. Considering they were in the meta for so long, it's just a really easy way to get through them. Unfortunately, Boa got forced out, so that's kind of the sad side for us. But it doesn't matter, because we were able to easily get that victory. We'll take a fixed damage shot from Lucci here on the second fight, but it really won't matter. We know that they have, you know, a Dex team in that final slot. Could have swapped teams and had their strength team go. I thought we were going to be able to get this without having to use a burst, and this is why you shouldn't skip. Even though it seems like an easy win, I made the mistake here, I paid for it, and I lost. So now it makes, obviously, this third match be a lot more risky than it should be. And that's why usually what I'll do is if I'm not 100% confident in that second team, I'll throw a team that I know can have some bulk ability or survivability in that third slot just in case. I'm glad I did, because in this case, pretty much our team is going to be able to slaughter them. We're going to have at least 2 burst gauge charges with death hits if it gets that bad, but pretty much we can just kind of lock them out from doing really much of anything. And then once our guys start going, especially the Roger, will get enough damage to trigger that burst gauge, make it really easy to get the victory there. Garland's going to go, just do a little bit of damage. Was able to go ahead and take out some of the units there. Sabo's going to do, again, a lot of damage to 1 unit. And here's where Roger is just going to come in and just absolutely decimate. We'll wait till some units come in from the back bench, then use a special to kind of end it. Again, fixed damage special here, but nothing that we have to really worry about. Now that Donch and Zhao and those guys come in from the back bench, we'll go ahead and use our special, and that should be enough for us to end it. At this point, there's nothing they can do to beat us. So yeah, even though it became a lot closer than it probably should have been, it's going to make it easy for us to get the victory here. Kizaru is going to seal it. Boom, 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 and everyone's dead. You're going to get that shot from Kizaru, which is fine. Just the last 2 raw before we get the victory there. So not a bad third day. We were able to get 2 rare recruit captains, so obviously we'll take that, which is great. Let's get into the last day. The last day is a doozy, so you don't want to miss that. So, again, change your captains at the end of the day. I'm just taking a screenshot of my teams because I want to remember them as I auto-edit to make sure that people have a chance to get the full wins. So just make sure that when you are done for the day, as I mentioned, you just go in, change your leader to a non-burst captain using auto-edit, and let everyone win. So there we go. That is day number 3. Let's get on to the day number 4 matches. Day number 4. Let's see what happens. Oh boy, love seeing burst captains right when you open it up. Alright, so again, I want to avoid Kaido as much as I can, so I'm just going to face the Mirror Kizaru here. Again, what you really have to do is make sure that you're able to get your damage before they can get theirs, stop their burst gauge from charging. So the idea here is because I have the anti-shooter team, hopefully they should do barely any damage here, and the goal is to basically do as much damage as quick as I can on that second match to make sure that they can't get their burst gauge going, and that way we can kind of hopefully get the victory without them using a single burst. So that's kind of the goal, that's the game plan, that's why I had this team go first. Again, you can see that even in the first 15 seconds we're able to at least take out one of their units, and Boa is just a monster against shooters. Luffy, again, does the same thing, just does a ton of damage here. We're going to take a little bit of damage from the death shot there from Kizaru, but not enough to really do anything for us, so we'll go ahead and kill there. And that was pretty much played to a T. They don't have really that much of a burst gauge charge for the Kizaru. So obviously in the second battle, I was super worried because it's obviously the Shrent team. If they get going and they get their specials off, then they're going to do enough damage to trigger that burst gauge. So the game plan here was wait as close as I could to when they get their specials ready, launch the Kizaru special, so that way it special binds a bunch of their units, and then just hope that my units have a chance to go before their special bind is up. So that's what you'll see me through here, just kind of quickly checking, you know, what the CT time left on the opponent was. But with this team, the Uta just goes so fast that you just want to make sure that you don't even give them a chance to even get there. So you can see we already had 2 of our units go. Unfortunately, Roger is really the biggest damage dealer, and you can see we got the special boost there from the Uta unit, which obviously wasn't good. That really worried me, but luckily we were still able to get our Garling to go first, and then our Roger will go here, which will just basically charge our burst gauge, give us more enough time. Again, the Strength team is a glass cannon team, so if you can get at least one special off, you can get them pretty close to getting wiped on that first special that you launch off, and then the second one's more just gravy. So there you go. That's why I chose to fight this Kizaru, exactly because I knew that I could do more damage quicker than they could, prevent them from using any of their specials, and that's how you have to take on really Kizarus to get the most effective win there. So there we go. First match of day number 4 ends in a W. Love to see that. Hopefully the next 2 matches go as smooth. So let's see who is ready for match number 2 of day 4. All right, for the second match, all burst captains. So the Luffy and the Kaido both get their burst gauge charged because of the rule set for the season. So that's why I'm going to take on this Kizaru again. I saw the first fight was a quick team on his side, so I knew I could use my Dex team. Now, this is a TRS member, so shout out to the TRS member for these teams. Awesome alliance, great people. So with that being said, let's see if we can go ahead and get here. I was probably being a lot more cockier than I should have been on this first fight, and you'll see why in just a little bit. But it should have been a pretty easy victory, right? The only thing you have to worry about, obviously, is the kind of does the 30% HP cut, which is a pain. Luffy can do a ton of damage if he goes. But I was like, oh, I have the Dex team. I'm perfectly fine. They're not going to do too much damage enough to charge that burst gauge. So pretty much what I did here is I just kind of let the match kind of go on as it went. And then I was like, okay, well, this is like, you know, this is awesome, right? Love to do this. So let's go ahead and use a burst and just take out a couple more people, right? So at this point, I'm like, oh, there's no way they can win, which is good, right? That's the assumption. Keep that in mind for a little bit later on in this video, right? So we got the first win for that fight. So again, typically if I have the option, I'll put the most survivable team in that third slot just in case. I had actually forgotten to change my anti-shooter team here, so that's kind of the downside here, is that obviously not a lot of this team is shooters. Obviously the Kuma and I think even Uta might be a shooter, but a lot of the other units aren't. So I was kind of really worried here because I was like, oh, I'm probably not going to be able to defeat these guys. You can see we already got a bunch of special paralysis and things like that going on, right? So, and damage over time, just a bunch of nasty debuffs. So I'm like, all right, one shot from Kuma or Luffy, and that's pretty much game over. Luckily, we were able to get the confusion going from the S-Snake there, and our Luffy was able to go, which was absolutely huge in terms of us going. And then just to add on to that, Boa went as well. Like, it was just pure luck that we happened to be able to do that, to be able to get what we were looking for. And then we were able to basically just wipe out, you know, the rest of the team that way. So we were able to get lucky there. Be mindful of the teams that you're using and between matches, especially if you swap them up. But luckily, we were able to get the 11th victory, one step closer to 15 total wins. Love to see that. So yeah, let's get into the final match of day number 4 and see how that went. For the final fight of this video, we're going to go ahead and take on the Jinbei here, because he is not a crazy burst captain. He just has a fixed damage special. And at this point, because we know what that first team is, I felt pretty confident that we should be able to pretty easily kind of get through it. Strength team, you know, obviously the glass cannon team, right? So the thought process here was because I swapped out my captain to a Kaido, because of the rule set that gives the boost of the CT to characters that are shooters. as one of the rule sets. I was like, okay, well, we'll make sure we're able to go pretty quickly. We'll get a bunch of our specials off, and once the Luffy Lucci goes and once Kuma goes, like, it's over, right? We'll get our burst gauge. Sorry, we don't get our burst gauge charged by doing damage. We get our burst gauge charged by taking damage. So I was like, oh, that's perfectly fine. Luckily, if they do anything, you know, we'll have the burst gauge. We'll use it. Boom. Unfortunately, I just assumed a lot of stuff, which just was not right. I should have just waited, but I got really overconfident, really cocky. I'm like, oh, their big damage dealers are done. Hit skip, and boom, I lost. So now I'm freaking out because obviously you lose the first match. You can't see what the next two are. I don't know if there's going to be some other team. I know there won't be a strength team in the slots, but still, fighting teams like these are really crazy. So against the shooter team here, I'm like, uh-oh, that's not good. We don't want to fight the shooter team. Luckily, they don't get the CT increase because of the rule set, because they don't have, you know, one of the 3 tags there. So that's the only thing that worked in our favor. So I said, all right, well, the special of Kaido works by kicking out 2 units that have special CT of 99% or more. So I'm like, okay, 3 of the units have the CT. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and use their burst, and that will kick out a bunch of their units so that they can't use their damage, right? And the Elder there on the team is really the big damage dealer. So I'm like, okay, if I can get them out of there for 10 seconds, it gives my guys a chance to get their specials going, gives a chance for Kizaru here to be able to get his special line going, and just give us a better chance of surviving. So luckily, because of that, we were able to actually pretty easily, pretty effectively get rid of the rest of their team. We were hoping we were going to take a little bit more damage here, just so we get our burst gauge charge for the 3rd match, because we already had that loss, so that was kind of the downside there. But unfortunately, that just didn't happen. So we got our burst gauge charge about a quarter of the way, roughly there, but not enough for where we'll feel confident going into that 3rd match. Now, we know it is a side team based on that Jinbei that was there. Again, look at the team, like, oh man, this is just not good. We have the trio there, who has the multi revives. You have the Garb, who can just do the nasty hits and the death hits. You have the Nami there, who can do the special reverse, and I believe one of the units also can get rid of the ability to force out. So that means that the special of Kaido that kicks out a couple units basically becomes useless, right? So unfortunately, this was a lot more panicky than it should have been for a rare recruit captain battle. But it kind of is what it is. So we're trucking along. We're going to go ahead. Yeah, there it is. The Jinbei special prevents force out for 20 seconds. So unfortunately for us, you know, we were kind of getting worried here. Obviously, we're taking a bunch of damage. We got Garland with his thing fully charged. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just send it. See what we can go ahead and do here. I probably should have waited until after Garland went. I think that might have been a little bit better. But you can see he only took out Law, which didn't help. And then we get all the special rewind from the Nami, which just isn't fun, isn't good. So that puts us in a not great spot. Obviously, we had a death hit that we can get from Roger and from Yamato to help charge the gauge even more if we have to. Yamato has the death hit there. She's able to take out, luckily, Jinbei herself. Brings in Rebecca and Toy Soldier from the back bench. But at this point, I'm feeling pretty good because the burst gauge is just about charged. If I can get the Roger special to go, I feel pretty confident that I can win there. I do get the burst able to go. Boom. The force out timer has ended, so that makes our job a lot easier here. We're going to have Sabo go. He's going to do a lot of damage to one target. Unfortunately, it was Luffy, so it just triggered the revive for us. And then Roger just comes in and luckily just wipes out everyone else. We hit that shot from that Roger, which just puts us in a not great position, but it basically makes it 5-on-1, especially with the level 150 of the Lilith unit there. Like, I know we can win, but this cut it a lot closer than it should have been. If I was smarter in that match number 1, I could have easily won that, put a lot less pressure on myself. But that being said, we were able to eke out the wins, got to 12 out of 15. I'm not feeling confident for day number 5. Usually I'm super confident going into day number 5 that we'll be able to take on whatever teams we see. But I'm not really too confident here. So you can see I'm just setting my leader here to an auto-edit Nami, just so everyone has a good chance to get that 15 out of 15. Again, community strategy, help everyone win. And yeah, that's up to day 4 so far. Like I said, I'm not feeling too great for tomorrow. We'll have to see how those matches go. I'll have a video out for that as well. But hopefully your Grand Party matches are going well. Hopefully you're 12 out of 15. Let me know how many wins you have got this season. What do you think of the rule set for this season? I haven't seen many people using the Blackbeard Pirate, so I'm kind of happy that maybe a lot of people aren't pulling the same for Anniversary and those things. So luckily, it seems to be just the Mythical Zone and the World Government captains that you're seeing out there. So good luck on day number 5. Hope you guys have a lot of rare recruit captains that you have to fight, and you get your 15 out of 15, get your gems, and dip out. So until next time, as always, be kind to each other. Thanks for watching.